Do you like punching people in the face? Do you like guaranteed critical hits? Do you want to get guaranteed critical hits for punching people in the face? If you said yes to any of my questions, I have the guide for you. How Yinz doing? I'm an Ian, and this is my TF2 How to Kill Streak series, where we look at the best and worst TF2 has on offer, and I show you how to get a kill streak with it, because everything is a bad idea until it works. Today, as you could tell by reading the title and thumbnail of this video, we'll be covering the killer gloves of boxing. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Punch him so hard he explodes!
The Killer Gloves of Boxing, or KGB as it's more commonly referred to, was added back in 2008 in the Heavy update, and can be acquired from the Heavy Milestone 3 achievement. This weapon's name is actually a reference to the real-life KGB, which was the USSR's equivalent of the CIA. As for what this weapon does, at the cost of punching 20% slower, you get 5 seconds of guaranteed critical hits after every melee kill. Sadly, this melee weapon is incapable of taunt killing, unlike the previously covered Holiday Punch, meaning if your goal was to go fishing for taunt kills in order to get that first kill so you can go for a kill streak, this is sadly not an option for you. Interestingly, however, unlike most weapons that give you guaranteed crits, this thing can give you random crits as well, meaning RNGesus is capable of bestowing you the ability to get that kill streak going when he feels like it. Since the 5 seconds of guaranteed critical hits persist even after you swap weapons, I recommend using the Tomislav and Panic attack with this melee. This is because the Tomislav revs up faster, allowing you to shoot out your bullets sooner, allowing you to capitalize on the 5 seconds of guaranteed crits far more reliably than you could with your other weapons. Meanwhile, the Panic attack allows you to deploy your shotgun faster than you could normally as Heavy, allowing you to do the same thing as you could with a Tomislav, but with your secondary. And while yes, killing players with your melee to refresh the crit timer is the ideal game plan here, you're the slowest moving class in a game where everyone has a gun, so you can't count on other players being in melee range for you to finish them off all the time. As a result of this, I recommend having a plan B for when punching people in the face doesn't work.
Heresy!
A popular tactic to use with this melee weapon is to combo it alongside the buffalo steak sandwich. This is because at the cost of being restricted to melee only for the duration of its effects, you gain a speed boost and guaranteed mini crits on all of your attacks. However, the steak has a hidden downside not mentioned in its description, a 10% damage vulnerability that is added to you whenever you're under the effects of the speed buff. Combine this with the fact that this is the only heavy lunchbox item that is incapable of healing yourself, as well as the fact that you are restricted to melee only whilst under its effects, and you will quickly realize that outside of medieval mode, you're just gonna get gunned down by everyone in the game, since I have a gun and can shoot you, and you're trying to punch me in the face. Still, the buffalo steak sandwich and the KGB are pretty much the meta weapons of choice for those of you who play on medieval mode as Heavy, so if you love playing medieval mode and are sick of playing Huntsman Sniper and Demo Knight and want to try something different, this can be a fun alternative. However, a far more reliable method I have found with this weapon is to use it alongside the Locust Bar, since unlike the steak, the Locust Bar is still capable of healing you, and it buffs your overall durability by increasing your maximum health by 50 whenever you eat it. And trust me when I say, increasing your health so you can take a hit as you try to close the gap to punch people to death is far more reliable than increasing your speed and hoping to God that your opponents miss. When using this melee weapon in normal games, the best way to use it is to finish off players who are foolish enough to think getting in melee distance of a guy carrying a minigun was a good idea. This will usually be an overconfident scout, a spy failing at life, or a clueless new player. And while yes, there are certainly other kinds of players that will provide opportunities for you to use this melee weapon to its fullest, the 3 I just listed will be the far most abundant that you will see in your typical match. If your goal is to focus on getting melee kills in a game where everyone has a gun and you have lower mobility than everyone else in the game, I'm sorry to inform you, but most of the time you're going to be getting a nice healthy dose of disappointment fresh from the oven, whilst the nice cold serving of revenge you're looking for, whilst sweet, is far from guaranteed. The KGB is not a melee weapon that will always have a chance to shine in any given match. However, unlike the previously covered Warrior Spirit, you're at least not shooting yourself in the foot for using it in the first place. Realistically, in your typical game of Team Fortress 2, if you're trying to get a kill streak as Heavy, you're better off using the Fist of Steel to improve your survivability rather than trying to go for melee kills with this weapon. However, if your end goal is to get a kill streak with the Killer Gloves of Boxing specifically, I do have some advice to give. The first word of advice I have to give is if you're using the stake or the locust bar to buff yourself, make sure that you're not in any sight lines when you do so. The castle walls on the Keep are a perfect example of what you want to be looking for. This is because there are areas directly next to the A and B control points where you can jump down in relative safety from sniper fire. This means realistically all you gotta do is check the walls to make sure no demonites are currently trying to charge up there through the rock, and you should be good. A good rule of thumb for when you're trying to figure out where to best eat your steak is quite simple. If a spy can hide there waiting to backstab the enemy team without needing to rely on a cloak or a disguise to kill them, then it's probably good enough for you. Another trick you can try employing if you're having trouble getting kills outside of the Keep is to use the Judas Hoovy tactic, where you pretend to be a friendly Hoovy giving sandwiches to the enemy team, only to dominate them by fisting them to death. However, when using the killer gloves of boxing, the Judas Hoovy tactic is least likely to work, since realistically, this is the melee weapon you use often as heavy when you're actively trying to go for melee kills, and players who have this weapon deployed aren't necessarily going to be viewed as friendly Hoovies even if you're crouched. As a result of all this, it might prove necessary for you to forego anything even vaguely resembling subtlety in favor of punching people in the face. However, generally speaking, while punching people in the face is generally the most amusing way to kill someone, it's far from the most effective since the face is the direction people shoot from. So consider trying to shove your fist up their rectum instead of down their throat. Trust me on this, people, it's just as sanitary either way. Oh, don't give me that look, we're wearing gloves, aren't we? On the subject of things we may or may not be doing, using the number keys to switch weapons is a far faster alternative to using the mouse wheel to scroll between your various options. And since you only get 5 seconds of guaranteed critical hits after every melee kill while using the killer gloves of boxing, you have to make every second count as much as humanly possible. So once you get those critical hits, try to do everything as quickly as possible in order to maximize the damage you're dealing. Because even if you miss your shots, there's still a chance that there was a cloaked spy behind the guy you were shooting at. Not a very good chance, let's be honest here, but remember, you only have 5 seconds of guaranteed critical hits after you get a melee kill here. So, shoot twice, aim once. All in all, I give the killer gloves of boxing a fun gimmick out of 10. This melee weapon can be a fun alternative to the normal TF2 meta if you want to try something stupid and different. However, if you have any serious inclinations about winning the game and getting a lot of kills, you're better off using your other weapon options. That's all for now, though. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one, comment what weapons you want to see me cover in the future. I've been Ian, you have been you, and this has been my TF2 How to Killstreak guide to the Killer Gloves of Boxing. And stay tuned, The Force of Nature is coming up next.